All right. You know, I shouldn't have to talk about this again. But what happened was, I got into a discussion with a group of people.
Hold on. Before you jump into that,
Right.
let me just give my most sincere condolences to a young man by the name of Darius Edwards, man. He attended the school I went to, Prairie View A&M University. Just found slain on campus, I believe, near campus. And no one is, to this point, to my knowledge, at this point in time, no one has said anything about his death or what has happened. And it's just like, man, my university is hurting so bad, man. Like, man, it's hurting so bad. Like, I hurt for my university, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we just had the whole Sandra Bland thing just last year, and then this, you know, and I don't know if it was a cop. I don't know. It might have been black on black crime. I'm not sure. It's just, man, it's just very, it's crazy. So I send my condolences to his family.
My condolences as well.
Also, you know, to the PV Nation. You know, y'all stay up, keep your head up. You know, eventually, man, we're gonna be strong enough and knowledgeable enough not to have these different tragedies and things going on, man. These horrific stories and events, you know. It's just crazy. It's just crazy, man. It's been going on for years, decades out there, man. And it's like we're in an oasis, just an island of surrounded by just horrible things. So again, rest in peace to the young man and to those that are hurt. You know, just stay up, keep praying, and you know, eventually we won't have stories like this so often. So yeah, not to cut you off, man.
Nah, I mean, it ties into what I'm about to kind of rant about. Like, to what he's saying, and I went to school in New Orleans. Dude from middle school is dead, but they both named, the two dudes that I know have been shot, like personally knew, both named were Ryan, which is very interesting. But and not only that, but on my Facebook, since I have maybe 90% of my Facebook friends are from New Orleans, I see them constantly post about the deaths of friends that they had shot, or friends or family or somebody they know, acquaintances, shot and killed, parents killed, people, upstanding people killed, dudes who were trying to be thuggish killed, like all kinds of people just being killed like every other month. But so into that, an outsider. So I have stuff to say about that, clearly. And if you haven't heard this before, you know that I'm very critical about the violence in black culture and how there seems to be a lack of attention towards that within the black community. But to walk away from that a little bit, an outsider looks at that and they just see that and they're like, you know, those people. And this is what they think. I'm not saying these people are animals. They just shoot each other. They don't take advantage of the opportunities they have. They have every opportunity. So why the violence? So I had a discussion about this with a group of people. Many of them were not black. I don't think any of them were black. And we were talking about. I was talking about how people are products of their environment. And I wasn't talking about this in relation to black on black violence or black people at all. I was just saying people are oftentimes products of their environment. There are many things that contribute to who we are. But in like our genes, like we have a particular kind of genetic disposition of sorts. Some people may, for whatever chemical reason, may be more temperamental. Some people, for whatever reason, may be more patient. It is a combination of nurture and nature. But what I was talking about more so in the conversation was the nurture of it all. And I was talking about how important that is and how it could affect you for better or worse. So that what they were saying though was this thing. And this is a very much so conservative thought process. So the conversation I was saying people are very much so the products of their environment. Basically, they're very much so influenced by their upbringing. So the retort to that was, like, no, they're not. You always have a choice. You always have a choice. And it's like, yeah, you always have a choice, but you have But that's not even necessarily the case. I'm not gonna get deep into that. The philosophy of free will. I'm not even gonna talk about that. Right. But I will say that you have choices within the constraints of the choice that you have in that moment, and those choices are the product of an upbringing. Many of times are very much so influenced by an upbringing. So this is the example I'm gonna make it super simple in case you're like, what are you talking about? Whatever. My basic premise to defend what I'm saying is that someone who for 15 years was tortured by their parental figures. Let's say they were cigarette burns on them, raped, brutally beaten literally for 15 years. In the 16th year, this person goes out on a killing spree. Now, and this is the example I use in the argument. I said, now would it be fair to say that this person probably did that due to this person's tormented upbringing? This person was very much, and it's no, because this person had a choice. So do you see how that's not answering my question? How that's talking about whether this person had a choice or not? And this goes along with this goes along with black people. When I talk about, because I see conservatives say this, that when I speak about the 244 years of slavery and then the 90 years or so of Jim Crow, and how that clearly contributed to the current, how that clearly contributes to the current state of Black America. And what you hear is, but that's not an excuse. And that's what she was basically saying in so many words. And that's what people are thinking. What I'm going on a rant about right now is how people don't acknowledge reasons because they think that you're not trying to give reasons, you're trying to excuse. There's a difference between excuses and reasons. A reason is an explanation of something. If I tell you that this person probably did that because they were brutally tortured all their life, and how it makes sense that they did, how it's still awful, how this person still should be held accountable.
Some people put in right and wrong it's not about right and wrong
it's now. Totally dispassionate, totally object. Exactly. I'm just saying why. I'm just saying the reason probably why. And then an excuse is a reason with the addition of a justification to it. There's the justifying element to it. You're trying to say they did this, and the reasons that they did this is X, and because of X, we should let them. And that's not what I'm saying, and I hate that, because what that does is I see why non-black people, because lately this is all tied into something. When I read a lot of Facebook comments with a lot of different things, and then even people who are on my friends list that aren't black, they say some passive aggressive remarks towards race and whatnot. What I hate is that what I feel is that their lack of compassion and understanding comes from this idea that were they to give credit to the reasons as to why black people are the way they are as far as the badness, that then they're excusing it. And I just hate that, because if we don't acknowledge reasons for that, then when are we ever going to move forward, grow? It's just, to me, to acknowledge reasons is to be someone who is mindful, is to be someone who is thoughtful. It doesn't mean that a murderer should walk free. It just means that you don't dismiss an entire people as a result. Because I think that's the big root of the kind of racism that's here today. A big chunk of why people are the kind of racist they are in today's world is because they just have these notions as to why a group of people are the way they are, and they don't want to acknowledge any of the history, because if they acknowledge history, then they're giving them an excuse. But to acknowledge history is just simply to acknowledge history. And that's all I'm saying. And this person and a couple of other people were fighting that so hard, saying you still have a choice. You still have a choice. If you can't acknowledge that a little boy growing up in a neighborhood that's basically akin to a third world country, all they see is crime and murder, and that this cyclical kind of the cyclical behavior that comes from this kind of terrible exposure, if you don't acknowledge that this is going to have a generational effect, if you don't acknowledge that this social disorganization takes a momentum of its own, if you can't acknowledge that, then you're never going to vote for the legislation that might provide the black community with certain kind of education, a certain kind of funding. You're never gonna go out and be motivated to protest along with everybody else so that we can do more for these people, we can do more for that people. Because in your mind, there's no reason why y'all shouldn't. Yeah, there's no reason why y'all shouldn't be doing awesome. There is no reason.
Man, it's so deep, man. Like I'm literally in tears right now, man. Cause I can speak to that, man. I mean, I can speak to the part about you having a choice, but I can also speak to the part about you are a product of your environment, and that does weigh on you, man. Like, man, excuse me, man. You know,
nah, bro, it's cool.
It's like this, man. Part of the main reason why I am the way that I am today, and people may see me as being soft, or they may see me as being too humble, being too meek, or they may see me as, oh, he's weak, you know, oh, you from the hood. No, I'm from 5th Ward, Houston, Texas, man. Born and raised. I was born in LBJ. That's one of the worst hospitals, not in the city, in life, in one of the worst hospitals in the country. You know, they don't have the resources or the tools to properly run. I'm blessed to have made it out even after I was giving birth, like even after my mom gave birth to me, you know.
Which is so ironic. LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson?
Yeah.
Which is so ironic because he was super instrumental in the Civil Rights Act. But go ahead.
And so, you know, since birth, man, you know, a lot of people don't know why I am. The main reason why I am, a key ingredient to why I am, is because of my father, man. Growing up, man, you know, and like that person was saying, you do have a choice, but it's so hard to that line of I'm gonna choose to go this way instead of this way is so thin. My dad, man, you know, and this is not to say who he is right now today, but man, my dad was such an abusive man, an abusive person, and wasn't even funny, man. And I have to say, it wasn't even the physical abuse was harsh, but the mental abuse, man, was even worse, man. Like, he would get in your head, man, and say some just nasty stuff. And I think it was just his being at that time was just so him. It was natural. And that's what even hurt even worse, because it was like, you know, some people go into a blackout, they zone out, and they go crazy on you, they snap on you. But you say, okay, well, I will forgive that because this is not you. This is a part of you, but this is not you. No, this was him, man. You know what I'm saying, man? I remember, man, you know, it was about little different incidents, man, about a moped. Boom, you know, my dad, man, so I had broke something on it. You know, you know, my dad's has nice look, whatever, nice house, nice income. You know, he has one of those doors with the nice fancy glass in them. I forgot the exact term. You know, he takes me, boom, neck in his hand. He slam. I'm a little boy, man. I'm a 12, 13-year-old boy. Slam me, and my dad's big, man. He's big. I'm as big as him now. But imagine me doing that too. And he's a little tall. Imagine me doing that to a 13, 14-year-old boy. Not the athletic 13, the little short, chubby 13. Boom, against the door. Don't you lie to me about it, man. Because I'm a kid, I am lying. Because I don't want to get in trouble. But if I was smarter, I would have just told the truth. I still probably would have gotten in trouble. But it might not have been severe. But then that plays into your mind like, you damn you do, damn you don't, because you know that punishment is going to be so severe. Anyway, that's one incident, man. I remember another incident, man. You know, and it was a generational thing, man. My grandfather, man, I'll never forget, man. I was about 8 or 9, maybe. I had tried to put up my little bike, and they told me not to put it in a certain place, but a kid, you know, I put it in a certain place. I put it in that place they told me not to. And my grandfather slapped me so hard, man, I literally pissed on myself. Like, he slapped me so hard.
Yeah.
I literally pissed on myself, man. And that all those moments, man, and just, man, my dad was such a womanizer, man. what he would do to women, man. That's I love women so much because of what I witnessed, man. What he would do to women, man. It fucked me up, man. And it was like, is this what I'm supposed to do?
It makes a lot of sense to me now especially why you didn't go down that kind of womanizing path too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it is about choice. But I had to make that choice, man, not to be what I saw and not to be what half of me. And since then, me and my dad, man, we prayed about stuff. We talked about stuff. Don't judge him because everybody has their demons, and I've forgiven him. He's forgiven himself. We've come together. We've talked. My grandfather. We've all talked. We're adult. I'm an adult now. But man, it was so bad, man. It was such monstrosities going on over there, man. And I had to make that decision. Like, it was one time, man. I'm not gonna go into all the details, but my dad severely injured me, man. That was the last thing. He severely injured me. I was 14 years old, man. And since 14 years old, I didn't see my dad till I graduated high school. We didn't even talk or nothing. And then I graduated college, and that's when we started trying to get better again for real and start the healing process. But man, my dad, man, he injured me so bad, man. I was just like, you know what, man, I can't be around this no more. Cause I'm snap, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna get killed, or somebody else gonna get killed, and I'm gonna be the one that killed them, man. And so all through high school, man, I made it my business not to be that way. And I feel like that took away some of my strength, but I feel like in that I had strength. I had strength to do that, man. So, you're right, you do have a choice, but a lot of people don't understand. It takes a lot of courage and strength to make that choice, not to walk that line and be what you are around. So your life, that's your life. You're around that so much. And that's why I uplift women so much, man, because I've seen what has happened to women, our women, especially our black women. And that's why that's why I am the meek and humble dude, because I've seen the loudness, I've seen what the craziness can do to you. And so people that don't understand that, it's easy for them to speak, especially those that have grown up in the situation in a neighborhood or an environment where they have all the financial resources in the world. I mean, I'm not, and it's not to say they don't have problems, because some of those people have the biggest problems in life.
Right.
It's just different. It's different problems. They have the biggest problems in life. But don't say it's about choice when you have this pedestal, this platform that you could be on. My pedestal platform is in the basement.
For real.
So
no, definitely, because people say, so Joseph did it. People say, so Andy did it, so James did it, so this person did it, so that person did it. Why can't everybody else? And this is the example I use to that, because I hate that kind of logic. You can get 20 people lined up right now outside, hand them all a Rubik's Cube in the same disconfiguration as all the others. A couple of them might figure out the Rubik's Cube in 20 minutes. A couple more, it might take them a couple hours. A couple more, it might take them 2 days. 3 more, it might take them a whole week. This is my point. My point is, we don't all process the same. We don't all think the same. We don't all react the same. It is very awesome that despite the trauma and the circumstance that Joseph grew up in and many other people grew up in, they were able to rise above it and to find that strength. And harness it. But there's so many variables that you don't even know about that come into play with that. There's so many variables, man. So who are you? How do you know? How are you so sure that they are just choosing to be a piece of shit? Like how are you? You're just like, that's what you like that. They just choosing that. Like they just want to suck. Like, there's no other. It's like, nah, man. It's. Here's the thing. Again, so in your mind, because the people that I'm saying this to, I'm feeling like they're in this room with me, invisibly. So again, your mind is like, no, but they still have a choice. It's no excuse. I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just saying that just be understanding so that maybe something can be done about it. Because it don't do a damn thing for nobody just to dismiss people and just to assume that they're going on they're straying from the right path on purpose just because. There's reasons for everything, whether you want to acknowledge them or not. And I guess it's just, to me, about honesty, bottom line. What I hate most about this conversation with race is the lack of honesty, quite frankly, on both sides, to keep it real. Is a lack of honesty on both sides. There's this super hardcore blatant biases, there's super hardcore blatant bigotries and passive aggressiveness and all kinds of hostilities. And I hate it. And I'm going to put somebody out there, and I'm sorry, like if she hears me, I love you. This person, I'm not going to say her name, I love you. But like for instance, this is to me kind of a lack of honesty within, because most people don't have self-honesty. They don't even know, they can't even admit when what they're doing is what they're doing. This person did a post on, she put up a picture. They had two hats. One was the baseball hat that was curved,
and the other one was flat.
With a sticker.
Okay.
It was
at the bottom
with a stick at the top.
Oh, stick.
Like the size thing. You know how some.
Oh, you leave it on.
Yeah, to leave it on the top.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, this separate. And one was like the curve hat was like, this is how you should wear a hat, not like this. And what she wrote was, she says, yep, this is the difference. And she's a white girl. She said, this is the difference that makes me look. # ghetto versus good old boy. And then, I'm gonna tell you who it was. But look. So here's the thing. This girl, I don't feel that in her mind when she sees every single black person, she's like, I want to lynch them, right? But definitely in her mind, she has decided for herself that anyone who wears a fitted cap with a flat bill with a sticker on top is ghetto, and she also is a Trump supporter. So, well, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Connect the dots and be honest. You have a particular kind of idea. And here's the thing. I must admit, a lot of most dudes who wear the fitted cap with the sticker on top, though they don't want to be, I wouldn't say they're ghetto. They might be more so. Yeah, it was an urban thing. They probably listen to hip hop. Yeah. But here's the thing, again, to just decide, because what you mean by ghetto is that they're project, and what you mean by project is that they're probably up to no good. This word ghetto is not benign. It's not some benign term. What you're saying is that they're bad. You're saying that if you wear a fitted cap with again, this is coming from the person who, I have so many grievances with black culture and black people in our youth and the way we think and how we roll, but I'll be damned if I'm gonna if I'm gonna be tolerant. To be honest, even I found myself not being able to say have a non-hostile approach to what she said. But that's foolishness right there, to just decide. And again, it's foolishness. I don't like when black people feel that we have to say that, every single white person in the world is wrong for this or that because a few white people did this or that. Yeah. Again, it's just like an understanding. It's like, clearly, if you're a white, like black people, if you're a white person growing up in the most whitest of suburb, and from there, I'm a 25-year-old white guy. I grew up in a white area. I went to a liberal college. I understand the black plight. I don't feel any racist notion with black people. Like, why? Like, although I'm not doing anything for Black Lives Matter, but I don't know, like, why am I bad? That's how I would feel. I'd be like, what am I doing? Like, I understand, like, I know that, and we could challenge white people and say that, like, we need y'all help we don't want reparations necessarily, but we needed y'all to understand so y'all could be on the same side. Instead, we have this kind of, it's a little bit, whatever, it's a little complicated. We have some divisive rhetoric coming just right back at them. They're divisive. White people, the comments on Facebook and stuff, they can be extremely divisive and say some shit that I understand how one wants to react to it. But at the same time, there is I feel like a lack of warmth and welcomeness to the prospect of a non-black person seeing it as well, from us saying that, here's the thing, if we don't want to include anybody else, if we're like, whatever, Black Lives Matter, all I'm asking is that when there's murders in the community, that we give that attention to, and the stuff that we just
wildfire.
Yes, wildfire kind of attention, and just like what he talked about, just what Joseph just was super transparent and vulnerable about. Why can't we all talk about that? Why can't we have a discussion? Why can't we acknowledge that due to it's the elders in our life, or maybe even the black men that are growing up even today, maybe the dudes that are even our age who have kids and stuff. Why can't we talk about the fact that there is a lot of psychological abuse, a lot of physical abuse, and it's not because black people are bad. It's because it's generational abuse, and obviously It's so obvious. Of course, it is super likely that if you are psychologically and physically abused from the your family, your heritage has been from the moment of slavery all until 1960, decade after decade. If there's been abuse, and you are now, and if someone in your life is now doing that, or if you are the one now doing that, in some way it isn't personal. In some way it isn't your fault. Not that we shouldn't scold those people. Not that not that we shouldn't admonish them, and not that we shouldn't be like, don't you dare do that. But we have to. We gotta talk about it, man.
Yeah.
But all I see is all I see on my damn feed is people talking about let's just pray. Let's just pray for the people who got shot. Let's just pray about it. Let's just pray about it. Y'all need to talk about it, man.
What led to this? Why are we here at this point right now? Did that person do anything to encourage this? You know, I feel like that gets touchy when a person just gets, you know, killed or murdered. You know, are they the great person that? I'm not saying anyone deserves to just get shot, killed.
Right?
Are they the person that we thought they were?
That's
or if they are the person we thought they were, then why? How did this happen? Why did it come to this point? And I'm not just talking on specifically I'm just saying period throughout every case, every situation.
I gotta wholeheartedly agree with that, and I'm not saying any specific example. Somebody I know was killed that we all know, many of my friends know. This dude was, and here's the thing again. Because look, automatically in your mind, right, listener, you're gonna say to what I'm about to say, how dare you? He was killed. Listen, I'm saying this person who was killed, he was trying to rap, right? And he was rapping, and he was talking about shooting people, and he was talking about this and that. He was trying to live that life. His lyrics, if his lyrics were any indication, and his lifestyle that he posted was any indication of who he really was, then he was trying to live that life, which is a dangerous one, and he was killed. I'm not saying he deserved it, but what I'm saying is that maybe we should talk about this and how this isn't cool. Just like how we talk about it ain't cool for police to pull the shit they pull. Just how we talk about it ain't cool for white people in the street to pull the shit they pull. Maybe we should talk about how it's not cool for our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, and our neighbors to pull the shit they pull. Maybe music is a factor. Maybe our lack of maybe music is a factor. Maybe our lack of maybe our worship of worshiping at the altar of material things is a factor. Maybe our unwillingness to talk about different philosophies that aren't biblical. If they're not biblical, we don't want to talk about it. Like, we don't, if it's not,
if we're not quote scripture, I don't want to hear about it.
Right. As far as betterment and self-improvement, like maybe we should honestly talk about something, man, and maybe we should scold and not tolerate certain things and be just as vocal about it as any other thing we're vocal about when it's a non-black person coming in our territory. I know what it is, and I know what it is. We don't want, just like the black family, just like many families, you don't want the outsider to see us talking about our dysfunction. Because they will. If there was an in-house, quote-unquote, in-house meeting within the black community, we white people, there'd be a bunch of comments. See, it's about time. Y'all need to get it together. I'm sorry I'm doing a country accent. I'm not saying all country people are racist. But what I'm saying, y'all, like, see, y'all do murder each other. Y'all do. We can't worry about that, man. No, y'all can't worry about that. Y'all can't worry about that. I've seen so many people. I'm about to say my family. Fine. I've seen such dysfunction not addressed due to the concern that other people would have been aware that it was being addressed. Due to other people, just the shame, just the proudness, the pride of not wanting to admit shit. Not wanting to admit nothing, man. These are just my pet peeves. Not willing to admit how wrong you may be or you are. Not being self-honest about your shit. Like just spewing, vomiting at the mouth with words that you don't, like, you're just saying nothing, but you ain't contemplating nothing. You ain't digesting nothing. You are verbally freaking bulimic. You ain't got no nourishment up in here, and you talking so much shit and being so prideful. And it's because of stories like his and many other people I've known in my life, and that it's just so aggravating, man. Because the potential is there. And it's so obvious what needs to be done. It's so obvious that the little steps that could be taken. And I just see them just spat on or just turn from just fingers and ears and eyes closed. It's like, come on, man. I'm done. I don't know.
Yeah, very, very touching, man. Very, very sensitive. very vulnerable, very transparent conversation and discussion, but it is something that I feel like needs to take place. I always say there's unity in the black community. When we start to know ourselves and we start to converse amongst one another, regardless of our demographic. Because you have some black people are born wealthy, some are born into riches, some are born decent, middle class, and some are born the bottom of the shoe, bottom of the barrel. We need to all be in that room. Light skin, dark skin, blue eyes, brown eyes. And we need to come together and discuss. And I'm not saying all the millions of black people in America. We start at community level. Let's start at school. Let's start at work. Then let's go take it to the mayor's office. Then let's take it to, different cities getting together. Then the state. Just connect. We need to connect because we're so disconnected until something happens to one of our own, whether it was one of our own that did it, or especially if the other culture or the other race did it. So we need to do better about that. Be better about that, man. And not let it happen just during tragedy. Let's do it with everything going good, happy. Everything seem like it's alright. And I promise you, we'll be in a much better place. And we will grow, and we will be leaps and bounds better than what we have been in the years past. And we can finally see the marks of the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X and all the greats of that time, W.E.B. Du Bois, mean something. We can see the lyrics of Tupac mean something. The lyrics of J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar mean something. Nas mean something. We just have to. It's very imperative that we all come together. We don't have to like each other, we don't have to agree with everything, but we need to come together. So
I agree.